devastating rain event that is unfolding in Queensland. Joining us live is Nationals leader David Littleproud, who is in Quilpie. David, thank you so much for joining us. This is your electorate behind us. Certainly you can see a huge amount of rainfall. I know there were evacuations announced a couple of days ago. What is the latest?
Yeah, look, just got into Quilpie and having a tour around town, and obviously Quilpie has been spared, but many of the stations nearby haven't, and there's huge stock losses. This could be similar to what we saw in 2019 in the northwest Queensland floods. And we've seen even to the northwest of here, the little town of Jundah basically go right under, and Adavale, which is part of the Quilpie Shire. We're also very worried tonight about Thargomindah. Spoke to the Mayor, Tractor Ferguson, up there this morning, and they are going to face their test tonight. And these councils and the Premier have done a great job in keeping everyone out of the water and the towns out of the water as best they can and evacuating people. But there will be huge stock losses, and I think I spoke to the Premier this morning and made it very clear to him that we should look at what we did up in northwest Queensland when they had all those huge stock losses, because this is people's livelihoods that will be lost. And there's also a little bit difference here is that we've lost probably about 600 kilometres of exclusion fencing, and that's going to have a significant impact on people being able to get their livelihoods back and going quickly. So the Premier has announced some funding this morning, which was great, but there's more that will be needed to get these communities back up on track. But we hope that this road to Charleville will be open probably sometime mid next week.
I spoke to the Mayor of Longreach among a lot of people this week, David, and the Mayor said it was a disaster of magnitude, and that was a couple of days ago. And again, seeing the enormity of what you have on screen there, and the amount of flood warnings as well, and just the widespread devastation. You mentioned the livestock loss, and a lot of farmers that we've been speaking to as well, talking about the fences and the property. Let's talk about the election, because we heard Opposition Leader Peter Dutton today talking about, you know, the cost of living being the number one issue, and unfortunately where you are, the devastation there, the cost of what is to come, the recovery, the mental health, all of that is going to be unfolding. But he also mentioned, David, trust. He mentioned that people need to trust in your government. How certain can you tell voters that they can trust in your government?
Yeah, look, Peter Dutton and I are two Queenslanders to just look you in the eye, tell you how it is, what we're going to do to fix the nation's problem, but we're going to have the courage to fix the nation's problems. You just can't keep kicking it down the road and keep spending your money in rebates and subsidies, because ultimately your money runs out. What you've got to do is fix the fundamentals. That's why we've lent in very heavily to an East Coast gas reserve to make sure that Australian gas is working for Australians. You can't have a healthy Medicare system in this country unless you have a healthy economy, and the economy is energy. And unless you have an energy system that underpins that, you can't pay the bills. And we've also gone for that short-term relief, and for particularly people out here, by cutting that excise, just understand it's going to make sure that their cost of living comes down particularly, but also yours, because the produce that will come out of here that goes back to you will come back at a reduced cost, because the trucking companies will get a reduction. So this is the sort of just common sense solution. And I think Peter and I, whether you like Peter or I or not, the one thing that people would say about us is that we're always up front. We say what we believe in. We're prepared to stand up what we believe in. That's what you want in leadership. You want the strength and courage of your conviction to have a plan for this country. Not sit there and denigrate and just throw barbs and trying to bring down someone else's personality and character. That's all the Prime Minister is. You'll see all they'll do is try and denigrate Peter Dutton. We're worried, well, they're worried about Peter Dutton. Peter Dutton and I are worried about Australians and about their cost of living crisis and about how we get them out of this cost of living crisis. And that's using some common sense. That's having the courage of using our resources to make sure we achieve that. And that means that people like here in Quilpie will be able to get back up on their feet to feed this nation.
We saw a big swing away from the major parties in the last federal election. They went to the Teals, the Independents. How confident are you that they might join you or even Labor again and perhaps change their mind?
Well, I think the big thing that people need to understand is they vote for an independent. They're voting for 3 more years of Anthony Albanese. Anthony Albanese, the Greens and the Teals and a few independents. The chaos that will be taken to this country will be enormous. We can't afford 3 more years of delay. We actually need strength in leadership and we need certainty. So the choice is clear. It's either vote for an independent and Anthony Albanese or vote for the coalition. It is an arbitrary decision at this election and the choice is clear. And if you vote for anyone and think that you're not voting for Anthony Albanese, if you vote for an independent, you are, because you are weakening the coalition from winning.
All right.
And politics is the brutal game of arithmetic.
David Littleproud, we've got to wrap it up, but our thoughts are with everybody in Queensland. I know it's the start of a big campaign 5 weeks ahead, but really the focus for many people in Queensland, of course, is the devastation there. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.